Professor Ji Wenhua of the School of Law at the University of International Business and Economics has analyzed the economic impacts of the US-China trade war. His research indicates that the imposition of tariffs by both nations has led to significant reductions in bilateral trade, with US imports from China decreasing by approximately $91.46 billion and Chinese imports from the US by about $36.71 billion. These tariffs have also resulted in welfare losses for both countries, estimated at $1.437 billion for the US and $2.193 billion for China. Additionally, the study highlights that certain sectors are more adversely affected, such as machinery and electrical products in the US, and soybeans and automobiles in China. The research concludes that the trade war is detrimental to both nations' welfare and could have further negative effects on global value chains and the multilateral trading system. The multilateral trading system, embodied by the World Trade Organization, WTO, serves as the cornerstone of international trade activities, with the core mission of promoting the free flow of trade globally. WTO principles and disciplines constitute a core code of conduct for WTO members. The second Trump administration believes that fentanyl poses a severe threat to American society and wishes to have domestic challenges resolved by other countries who, under US pressure, would intensify their enforcement efforts. However, such unilateral trade coercion violates WTO rules and disciplines, thus constituting the incorrect way to solve the problem. US unilateral tariff measures violate WTO rules. Firstly, they are in violation of the most. Canada, Mexico, and China without consulting the dispute settlement process. This undermines the stability and predictability of the multilateral trading system. As the US presses on in disregard of this process, other members can initiate WTO consultations, refer the matter to a panel, and, if necessary, take reciprocal retaliatory measures. US unilateral tariff measures will have detrimental effects. The US unilateralist actions are prone to provoke detestation or even countermeasures from other WTO members. Retaliation in response to US tariffs on their products could lead to a global trade war. In the long run, the US actions will backfire. Higher tariffs will result in increased prices for imported goods, increasing burdens on American consumers and undercutting the competitiveness of US companies globally. The key to solving the fentanyl issue lies in stronger multilateral cooperation. The US fentanyl crisis lies fundamentally in its immense domestic demand, which leads to abuse and regulatory loopholes. Demand on the consumption side ramps up illicit production, and just like other synthetic drugs, fentanyl-related substances are produced with easily accessible chemicals that have other legal uses and with alternative synthetic routes. The crisis won't be fixed without fundamental elimination of the demand for the drug. Unilateral tariffs against other WTO members do not touch upon the root cause, let alone solving items and for all. After all, addressing the fentanyl issue requires cooperation, not unilateral trade coercion. The EU should strengthen cooperation with relevant countries, improve oversight for chemicals, and crack down on trafficking networks. Only with intensified collaboration against drug trafficking and other illegal activities can there be lasting, sustainable progress. Reactions from some political figures and parties to the recent US tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China have been notably critical. Democratic leaders have expressed concerns that these tariffs could lead to increased consumer prices, affecting essential goods such as groceries, gasoline, and housing. They warn that such economic impacts may erode public trust in the administration's ability to manage the economy effectively. In Canada, former Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland proposed imposing 100% tariffs on specific US products, including Tesla vehicles and American alcoholic beverages, should the US proceed with its 25% tariffs on Canadian goods. Freeland's strategy aims to target products from Republican-leaning states, thereby applying political pressure on President Trump's allies. Additionally, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced 25% retaliatory tariffs on American goods worth $155 billion Canadian dollars, emphasizing the potential negative impact on US industries and consumers. Trudeau urged Canadians to reduce their consumption of American products in response to the U.S. tariffs. American left-wing leaders have expressed significant concern over President Donald Trump's recent imposition of tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer criticized the move, stating that he is concerned these new tariffs will further drive up costs for American consumers. Economists and trade analysts have echoed these concerns, warning that the tariffs could lead to increased inflation and reduced economic output. They predict that American households may face higher prices for goods such as cars, food, alcohol, and consumer electronics, potentially costing over $2,600 annually. The Wall Street Journal's editorial board, known for its conservative stance, also criticized the tariffs, labeling them as the dumbest trade war in history. These reactions highlight a broader concern among left-leaning leaders and analysts that the tariffs may harm both domestic and global economies, potentially leading to increased inflation and economic hardship for working-class individuals. These responses reflect a broader concern among left-leaning political figures that the tariffs may harm both domestic and global economies, potentially leading to increased inflation and economic hardship for working-class individuals. The recent imposition of a 10% tariff on Chinese goods by the U.S. is expected to have several consequences for American consumers. Increased prices on consumer goods. Many everyday items imported from China are likely to become more expensive. For instance, products such as smartphones, electronics, clothing, and household appliances may see price hikes as importers pass on the additional costs to consumers. Higher grocery bills. Imports of food items like cherry tomatoes and avocados from countries like Mexico and Canada, which are also facing tariffs, could lead to increased prices in grocery stores. Impact on automobiles. The automotive industry, which relies on parts from China, Mexico, and Canada, may experience increased production costs. This could result in higher prices for vehicles and automotive parts in the U.S. market. Potential job losses. Industries that depend on imported materials might face higher operational costs, leading to potential downsizing or slower hiring rates. This could affect employment in sectors such as manufacturing and retail. Overall economic impact. Analyses suggest that the tariffs could reduce the U.S. gross domestic product, GDP, by approximately 0.4% in the long run, indicating a slowdown in economic growth. While the tariffs aim to address trade imbalances and protect domestic industries, they are anticipated to lead to higher costs for American consumers across various sectors, potentially affecting purchasing power and overall economic well-being.